days of regular or light beer are behind us as a new age of beer drinking is majorly underway. Flavor is the new game when it comes to beer making, and Pedal Haus is here to tell us all about how they stepped up their beer game. Joining me at the table is marketing guru manager at Pedal Haus, Bailey Mosley. Bailey, thank you for joining me at the table. I'm so excited to talk to you guys because my husband and I are actually big home brewers. And it started off about 8 years or so ago. He wanted a new hobby, so he chose beer making. Fine. We've come a long way since like the metal pan on the stove taking 3 hours to boil water and stuff like that. So tell me how your love for beer started off, and really how did you get into the marketing game of beer?
Totally. I have a kind of unconventional story. So I was actually working at a restaurant through college, and they had over 25 different taps of different beer and craft beer. And this was around in 2015.
Okay.
And I was getting my degree in marketing, and I just slowly started to, try the beers, learn more about it, work with the reps, and I really loved it, but I didn't think anything more of it. I thought I was going into the live music industry. That's what I wanted to do. And then when I graduated, I got a call from one of those reps, and he's like, weird chance, but is there any chance you can get into sales with us? Like, we need someone now, and we know you just graduated, and I didn't really have a job lined up yet, and it was pretty good money and great commission, so I went ahead and interviewed and met them and tried their beer and kind of just fell in love with the scene from there. I had also worked at a distillery prior to giving tours, kind of learning that aspect of things, and I did that. This is all in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Florida, and then when COVID hit, I actually ended up having like this whole quarter-life crisis sort of situation.
You and at least half of America, if not more, yes.
Yes, so my brother had just moved out here. He was going to school at ASU. I moved out here. It took me about a year to kind of get my bearings, and then I found the job at Pedal Haus, and it's really just, I found my home there, and I got to do marketing, which is what my degree was in, so it was more specific, and I got to work in the industry that I love.
Let's talk about Pedal Haus some. Tell me about it. How did it come around? Tell me about some of the specialty beers and stuff like that.
Definitely. So Pedal Haus 2015 was the first year. They started in Tempe. That's where we currently brew. By the end of the year, we were going to start brewing in Chandler. We have a new facility that'll be opening up out there. Lots more room, very high tech compared to our little tiny brewery that we have now out there, where we were kind of running into the issue of we are not brewing enough beer for what the demand is. So I know you can relate to that.
I get it. Mm-hmm.
So we're moving to that facility. So we'll be Chandler soon. But in 2015, we started in Tempe, and that was the beginning of the Pedal Haus dream, and now we've been able to develop more locations. We've got one in Chandler after that, just opened up one downtown Phoenix in November.
Okay.
Then we are opening up one in the airport and Terminal 4.
Very nice. I fly out of that one all the time.
Well, you'll be able to drink some great local beer now. And then we'll also have one in Mesa as well, downtown Mesa. It's an old gas station that we're renovating into a brewery, which is going to be such a cool space.
What do you think it is about the beer industry that has really shifted over the years, Bailey, from like, it really was just like three big ones, right? You had like Budweiser, Coors Light, Miller Lite, just the basics, which I still enjoy. I'm not knocking on them either. But like the flavor of beer, the intimacy of having a relationship with a beer, meaning something, you choose a beer based off what your meal is. When do you think all that kind of shifted?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different aspects, and you touched up on that with the relationship with the beer. And it's not even just the pairing it with the foods and understanding that. It's when you have someone that's making it local and when it's in the community, it's really cool to have that experience of, oh my gosh, I talked to the brewer. He told me how he made this. He explained to me the hops. He brought it out from the back and let me smell it and taste it and feel it in my hands. And being able to have, different experiences too with the beer and the tastes and the smells, and that it's not just one note. Again, I love those type of beers. That's Bud Lights and all that. I mean, those are some of the most difficult beers to make. Like the light lagers and stuff, those are no joke to make. I mean, IPAs all day, but to make those is actually a more difficult process because of the clarity. So I'm definitely not knocking those beers, and I think that they were on the right track. I mean, you saw with like the Bud Light Limes and stuff like that that came out. I remember my mom, like you would only catch my mom with the Bud Light Lime when she was out when those came out. She could have been sponsored by them. Like they were her jam. And now like every time I go home, she's got shandies and seltzers and everything else, and that just wasn't an option before.
Yeah.
So I think there's a community feel. There's definitely the interest of having those different flavors and tasting the different products. But I think a lot of it with the local beer is going to be, it's that community building, it's that local feel, it's being able to say, oh yeah, I know that. Like the amount of people that come in and they're like, oh yeah, we know Doc for sure. And he's like a little local celebrity just in the beer world. And it's really interesting to have that.
I think that's what it is too, is it is a local beer. Like when we travel, my husband and I, and we go out to dinner or lunch or whatever, we always are trying the local beer, right? Like what's your local tap right now? Because you do want that part of the community. That's why you're there and you want to taste that. I love that. It's true. Tell me specifically, Pedal Haus, what are some of your specialty brews? What are some of your most popular ones? You all have won a ton of awards as well.
Yeah, definitely. So that's all thanks to our master head brewer. Like he is insane. It's Derek Osborne. Doc is what we call him. He's
the Doc of beers.
The Doc of beers, yeah. Well, actually, he was originally a chiropractor for years.
Oh!
And then got into the beer industry. And, him and Julian met, and they really hit it off, and they opened up the brewery. But Doc's experience and his expertise in the industry, I mean, when I say he's a local celebrity, I mean it in the beer world. He is so impressive in the stuff that he makes. He takes traditional, really good beers, like light lagers, ambers. He does a lot of German-based stuff. We've got a Kolsch coming off. Oh, excuse me, not that. Kolsch.
Yeah. See?
Kolsch. A Kulash. What is that? Yeah, we have a Kolsch coming off. Like all these German influences, slow pours. Like he takes traditional beers and just puts his own twist on them and just makes them so good and so refreshing. So it's nice to have, the double, triple IPA barrel aged porters and stouts. I totally get it. Those are amazing. Like I'm one of those people that I want a flight of everything. But he takes traditional style beers and makes them just, in their purest sense, so tasty. Like our Day Drinker Light Lager is still my favorite beer, and it's a light freaking lager. Like why would that be anyone's favorite? But it's just so crisp. It's just so good. And the way that he does it is just so incredible.
I know, like, you can't see Bailey right now as she's talking to me. You'll see the video on YouTube, but I feel like you're kind of drooling thinking about the beers.
Like, I am a little bit. I want a beer. It's like 11, and I'm like, I could totally take a beer right now. I should have brought some. I don't know. This is poor planning on my end.
Damn it, Bailey.
Next time.
You all do. It is a specialty, and it's good. Brewing is not easy. As I mentioned, my husband and I started it. It is... we buy the kits or whatever. They have a lot of stores, and it's nice to have fun with it. The light lagers are very difficult, you're right, to make, but you get creative. We're starting to get creative. Where does Doc find some of his influence to bring about these? Is it like whatever he's craving or Julian's craving or something like that? Like how do y'all come up with these new recipes?
It's a lot of Doc. He is opinionated about his beer and how it's going to be, and he's always, he's always right. He's never wrong. I haven't had a beer that he's made that I didn't like. Yeah. And I would tell you. But it's a German influence again. He likes to do those traditional brews. He likes to do them just in their best form, in their best and purest form. So. I'm trying to think of like the ones that we have right now. Like we've got a really cool Pilsner out right now, and again, very traditional style beer, but he does it with the side pour, which is in a style where the head comes out super thick and almost like a snow cone on top. But the beer itself is just so good, and he's explaining to me all the science, and I'm just looking at him and drooling, and I'm like looking at this beer, and I'm like, there's so much that goes into this. Yeah. He's nerding out, and it's the best in the best way possible. It's just so impressive, and like just to hear his passion about it, and then be able to try the beer and just be like, holy cow, this is
the passion
incredible.
Really is in the flavor.
Oh,
and
totally.
you can taste it.
Totally.
I want to take a short break. When we come back, you all have done a really cool collaboration to help Women's International Month, and so I want to talk about that because it's all about a month of giving back for you. So let me take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about that. Perfect. All right. Our little fake commercial break. All right. I'm sitting here with Bailey Mosley. She is the marketing director at Pedal Haus Brewery. Bailey, talk to me about what you all have done to collaborate with this all-female hops brew. What's going on? Tell me a little bit about it.
Definitely. So the Pink Boots Society, they are an incredible organization that support women in the brewing and fermentation, like alcohol industry as a whole. Their whole platform is to educate, it's to connect women together that are in the industry, to share stories. And they raise funds and they do scholarships to help further the education of women who want to pursue a career in this industry.
I love that.
Cool. Amazing organization. Nationwide, I've actually been a part of a brew before in Florida with the Pink Boots Society, so it was really exciting to do it here and to see that influence happening. So what it is that the Pink Boots Society creates a hop. So they actually went out and created their own blend of a hops.
Wow.
They sell that to all the breweries. The breweries then make their own beer out of it. So there's no real restrictions on what we're going to do. We ended up doing our Desert Classic Pale Ale. Mm-hmm. So that beer, we actually rotate the hops out normally. So we just rotated that one in for that specific beer. And we had all of our female staff come in, like all of our female manager staffs, including myself, come in and brew the beer. And they made us brew the beer.
So only females have touched it.
Only female have touched this.
How
I mean,
cool.
we were guided a little bit. I'd never personally really brewed a beer.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot.
Yes.
And this is also like industrial space. So it's like climbing up on this ladder and I've got these chemicals and I'm trying to test everything and they're explaining it to me, but they made me clean the kegs out. They made us do every aspect of it. Filling up the kegs, all of it. So it was a really, really cool experience, and not something that I've ever really been able to do before, and the guys were so great about it. So we do have all guys in our brew staff right now, and it was cool just to have them be like, we're not explaining anything to you unless you guys ask. And then we're like, no, we need your help. They're like, oh, no, like, we don't want to mansplain. I'm like, no, like, we don't know what we're doing. Like, you have to tell us something.
There's a difference between mansplaining and, like, literally teaching us how to do something.
But it was so sweet and so genuine, and they just wanted to make sure that we had the best time and that we were actually doing the work and figuring it out and learning the process of the beer. And it was such a cool, fun day. I've got a video up on our Instagram that we took, and the whole experience was just so much fun and just a fun day of just relaxing in the middle of the week and being able to brew the beer and learn the process. And we met some of the women from the Pink Boots Society, which was really, really great. So when that beer does get tapped, I think we're one more batch behind, so it'll be like probably around like mid-April.
Okay.
$1 per each pint is going to go back to the Pink Boots Society.
That's fantastic. Another great cause. Well, 2 questions. Number 1, how was your first brew? Are you ready to do another one?
I'm in for it, definitely. It was an experience. It was a lot going on all at once.
Yeah.
I would love to do it on the smaller scale, like home brews, like how you guys do.
Yeah.
I think it would take a little bit more of the pressure off because these like giant machines are going on, and there's.
Man.
It was a little bit intense, but I definitely. Totally cool experience. I told them, I was like, I'm coming back in. I was like, when I need time away to like decompress from sitting in front of my computer, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. It was such a good day. Everybody was in really great spirits. They explained a whole bunch of it to me.
You learned a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a ton, and I thought I knew
Did it make
everything.
the beer taste better, doesn't it? Like when you really go in to understand the process of beer making, you become a little snootier about it, and you become a little more educated, and you're like, no, you could have done this better or this better. It's just amazing how your taste buds develop when you understand how the process of something works.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Bailey, you're a female. Talk to me about being a female really in the man's beer world. What's that like for you and working on this brew? How did that come full circle for you?
Yeah, it's exciting. I am in the marketing side of things, so I do find that
more women on that side?
It's more women on this side, totally. But, when I was in sales and stuff, there was times when, my coworkers would say things that they didn't mean in a certain way, and it came from a place of love and joking and stuff. But at the same time, it belittled what I was doing because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And it was never intentional, and it's never anything like that. But there's been times in working in a bar, working at any of that, where there's just those little comments, and you're like, I know that you would never be saying this if I was a man.
Right.
And it's so frustrating. But I've been really lucky and really fortunate. All the breweries that I've worked for, every place that I've worked for, they've been really, really accepting of me. They've taken my opinion and valued that towards the future of the company, and actually taken what I'm giving an input and I'm seeing what's coming out of it. And so I've been really, really fortunate in that aspect. But it's definitely a male-dominated world, and it's a little bit of a boys' club.
Yep.
So it's fun to infiltrate that and to demand my opinion being heard. I mean, like, you're a home brewer, you love drinking beer. I mean, there's a huge amount of value to a woman's experience and a woman's knowledge of the beer industry when you're marketing things, when you're thinking about the next brew, when you're thinking about all these different things. So
interesting. That's very true. Yeah. Well, I love that y'all are working with the Pink Boots Society. Mid-April, you're saying we should have it out.
Yes.
And so a pint from every sale will go back to helping them, which I think is just a great cause to support other women and bring them up through a very fun industry, actually, that we're all enjoying. And it's continually growing, you know.
Absolutely.
Where can we find you all? Where should we do? And what's your favorite beer before we leave?
Definitely. So we are in Tempe, Chandler, and downtown Phoenix, going to be in Mesa soon, as well as our new tap room in Chandler, and our brewery will be, or one of our locations will be in the airport in Terminal 4.
We're ready for Scottsdale. I'm just saying, we're growing. We need some
Slowly but surely. Let us brew some more beer first.
I like it. I like it.
You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Pedal Haus Brewery. And a favorite beer. That's the last one.
What's one of your favorite beers? Even what's on tap right now that you like? I'll narrow it down for you.
Man, I am a day drinker, light lager girl through and through. I'm gonna be honest, but our Pilsner, especially the one that we just have, the side pour Pilsner, is just
to die for.
Incredible.
I'll have to take your word since you didn't bring me any this morning. It's fine.
I messed up.
I'm sure you're being responsible. Like, we're doing a morning interview. She's not going to want to drink beer, but whatever.
You offered me coffee when I first got here. I'm like, I guess. Like, you guys don't have anything on tap here? Weird.
That's at home. I'm telling you, I should have done this interview at home. We had one.
Oh, my gosh.
Before we leave, Bailey, my last question to all of my favorite guests. What is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
So my favorite Scottsdale vibe, as being from Florida, Papago Park for me is just incredible. I love walking up to Hole in the Rock, walking around just the lake area, seeing like cactuses for the first time.
Yeah, wasn't that cool?
I think I took like 1,000 selfies with them when I first moved out here because I had never seen one in real life. So I would definitely say just Papago Park and being able to have that, and then you can, bounce right over to Old Town. It's only like a 5-minute drive away.
It's funny you mentioned the cactus thing because I'm from the South too. I'm from Georgia. So no, we don't see cactus. You see them on, honestly, like the cartoons and stuff like that. So the saguaro cactus is like the cactus that everyone sees. Huge. Right. But when my dad and I were moving here, like my dad helped my family and I move here. And he's like, we got to go find a saguaro cactus. I was like, okay, we'll go search for one. Not knowing they're on every freaking corner. So as we like pull into the state, we're like, oh my gosh, they are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and then we learned this is the only place in the entire world that they are.
How cool is that?
I know. So I'm with you. They're still beautiful. I've been here 2.5 years. Every cactus looks different. Every time, every light makes it look different. So I'm with you. I love the cactus too, just to go take a bajillion pictures of it.
Yeah.
Well, go check out Pedal Haus. Bailey, thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget, it's really important during the month of April, go get their special pint and give back and support women who are in this industry and trying to make a difference as well.